When Brian Ellison of Death's Door Spirits started working with the farmers of Washington Island in 2005 as part of an urban renewal project, he had no idea that he would end up making some of the best spirits that would ever come out of this state, much less the country. It's been a great path, and this distillery opened in 2012. It's Death's Door Spirits and Brian Ellison, the Lush Life crew, and the great, great, wonderful bounty of Washington Island. Brian!
Hey, Kyle.
How are you, buddy?
Doing well. Good to see you.
Yeah, this is cool.
Well, welcome to Death's Door.
Where the spirits are made.
That's right, where the magic happens.
Yeah.
Get a hat or a hairnet.
Stylish Death's Door aficionado or lunch lady. I'm gonna go with this one.
Attaboy. All right, let's go. So welcome.
Whoa! This is a much larger room than that door evinces. This is where it all began, right?
Yeah, well, Death's Door Vodka and Death's Door Gin were our first two products.
Yeah.
So using the wheat from Washington Island, and obviously with the gin, using the juniper from Washington Island as well. Mm-hmm. Then we've expanded. We have our white whiskey, as well as Wondermint peppermint schnapps and Kringle cream.
But this is how I became acquainted with you, with a great name, with this incredible label, and the story behind it.
Yeah, well, certainly everybody wants to know the name, you know, Death's Door. People are like, oh, I don't want to drink that. And it's like, no, it's named after the passage of water between Washington Island and the Wisconsin mainland. Well, I tell you what, let's start actually where this all begins, with the grain.
It's all about grain to sugar, sugar to alcohol, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay, you be the expert.
All right, let's go. So this is our grain room.
Yeah, you've got some grain.
So this isn't. This is actually end of a shipment. We have another shipment coming in this week.
This is just the small stuff.
But we bring in all of our grain is pre-milled. We use wheat, we use malted barley, and we use corn. Mm-hmm. Everything is stone ground and brought into us in these 2,500-pound super sacks.
So you started off with wheat on Washington Island, trying to bring back a microeconomy in farming.
I think the thing is, my background is economic development. I used to work as an economic development consultant, and when I was asked to work with the families on Washington Island, it was the idea of what are the place-based assets of Washington Island, and farming was something that had died out in the 70s, and it was how do we bring this back to these people. And the idea of it wasn't necessarily that we're going to grow wheat and we're going to become a huge wheat-growing island. It was trying to create that catalyst that would spur additional economic growth on the island. That was the point. And I'm always telling people, like, oh, so is your product made 100% from the wheat grown in Washington Island? And I say no. But I'm growing as much wheat as we can, and we're using all the grain that's grown on the island, simply because we want that to be part of that economic impetus. So yeah, up here on the mash platform, you can see we got two mashes going right now. They're actually cooling down.
It looks like a huge thing of chocolate milk churning around. This smells like a big batch of like really funky oatmeal.
Yeah, well, it's got a lot of sugar in it. So, and that's basically our ability to break that down from grain all the way to sugars.
Mix it around.
So, yeah, do you want to try some? It's super sweet.
Yeah.
All right, hang on a second.
Brian Ellison, my good new friend, you are not punking me on this, are you?
No.
Like this is gonna taste all right?
I'll drink it first if you want me to.
No, I'm just...
It's like the original energy drink.
Oh, that's delicious.
Isn't it?
That's like a yummy, creamy malt meal.
Yeah.
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 That's delicious.
I think it's fantastic. So from here, once this gets down to the proper temperature, then we're pitching yeast into this, and then both of these vessels get pumped over to one fermenter. So these are both 1,500 gallons, and then our fermenters are 3,100 gallons.
Okay.
And it allows us to then move two of these over into one fermenter.
So they've got a couple of days worth already sitting in there?
Yeah, and they've already filled one fermenter up this morning. They sit in these tanks, and we have agitation so that they can slowly move, and those yeast just go to town. And the way that we work is we do 2 mashes a day, and then the next day we do 2 strips. We strip out 2 fermenters in a day using our continuous stripping still. And so it's the idea every other day they're doing something different. Right. And it allows us to basically most efficiently move through the process.
You got to rotate your crops.
Yeah. Well, got to keep our guys from being bored. So the alcohol, as it's stripped off in that copper section up there is where the alcohol flashes off. Yeah. It gets pushed over to this condenser. This is filled with water. And then the water basically cools it down, brings it down to liquid. And then in this little parrot cup here is where we can see the proof of how it's coming off. Cool. What percentage of alcohol. Yeah. And then our collection tank here just collects it. And so we can, typically from one fermenter we get about what we call 500 proof gallons. Okay. Which proof gallon is a gallon of alcohol at 50% alcohol. And it's called proof because historically, to prove it was alcohol at 50%, it should light on fire. So
I've never known that.
So that's why 100 proof is proof.
It really is art and science.
Yeah, it's probably more science than art, to tell you the truth. So from here, essentially we run through the continuous stripping still. We're given all of our raw spirit. And the spirit that comes out is so good, we actually use that immediately and put in barrels for barreling whiskey.
Cool.
But if we're using that for vodka, vodka by law has to be distilled up to 190 proof and then brought back down to 80 proof.
That's right.
Gin as well, we want to use with a very clean spirit. And so we use our vodka for the base for our gin. So we would take the distillate that's here and then we move it over to the pot still. And the pot still is where we're getting more of our finished product. I like to say that this is kind of our black and white television, where this is like our high def TV. So what I say is a pot still is like cooking rice. You know, you put it in, you put the water, you put the grain in there, you bring it up to a boil.
Comes up, has the beak.
Comes to equilibrium, the liquid goes, the steam goes away, and you want the rice that's left over in it.
Right.
So in this case, we want the steam.
Yeah.
It's
kind of counterintuitive, actually.
Right. So in a stripping still, imagine a pot of rice. You bring the water to boil, and through that pot you have a conveyor belt. And so there's a conveyor belt that when you put the rice, uncooked rice, and when you slowly put that through, by the time it gets out on the other side of the pot, it's cooked, perfectly cooked rice. So that's exactly what we're doing here, is once we bring this up to equilibrium, we can basically conveyor in grain, it strips off the alcohol, and we can then pull the alcohol off and the stillage, which is the waste from it.
Grain.
And by doing that, we can just continually do that and keep pulling. What that allows us to do is, if we were using it like a traditional pot of rice, which is what the pot still is, it would take us 3 days to empty 1 fermenter. Doing it in continuous stripping, we can empty 2 fermenters in 12 hours.
Wow.
So it's really way more advantageous from an energy standpoint and from a production and a consistency standpoint to just run the continuous stripping still and get very high quality, consistent spirit. So it starts here in the pot. Essentially, we fill the pot up, they fire it up. You know, it'll run for 8 hours.
Yeah.
And we'll end up getting a batch that allows us to do about 550 cases. If it's gin, we're taking that vodka, we're putting it back in the still, and then we reroute the still so it's going through the stainless steel chamber here. And in this chamber is where we put the juniper, coriander, and fennel.
Ah, so that's the flavoring.
Yeah. It's actually real juniper, real coriander, real fennel. Do you actually want to make a bag of botanicals and we can have a special
I can
gin
cook.
here? Now you can make it any way you want as long as you follow our recipe. This is the juniper, and all of this juniper will make essentially 500 cases of gin. But the juniper itself is interesting. People think of it as a berry. It's actually a modified cone. There's no berry inside it, actually. There's no...
I mean, but if you look at it, it would fool anyone.
Yeah. Another thing that's important is that we want to use just the skin, because the skin is what has the oily flavor to it. The inside tends to have that piney, Christmas tree down the throat flavor. So 25 pounds of that.
How did you arrive at this recipe, Brian?
Well, I was working with, at the time, it was Chef Leah Kaplan at the Washington Hotel up on Washington Island. And the two of us were kind of coming up with different ideas and formulas and calculations on this. And this was just the 3 botanicals is what we decided really showcased, number 1, the really good spirit that we were making. And number 2 really was the simplicity of kind of how we're known in Wisconsin and certainly on Washington Island, is trying to create really good, simple things. And now I've got a scoop for you.
On to the coriander.
And fennel.
All right, so we'll mix this all together.
Mix this together.
And then we'll have
a bag of gin.
Recipe, a bag of gin.
Yeah.
I feel very privileged to be doing this, by the way.
Yeah, not everybody gets to make their own batch of gin.
Exactly. So in what, 8 hours, this will be gin?
It runs about 4 or 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours?
Yeah.
All right. Good luck, my friend.
So now you know how it's done.
Yeah, I think I've known how it's done. I've just seen now how it's done.
Exactly.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. It's such a energetic but light, depthful spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It excites people. You get that real juniper flavor.
Totally.
Spicy coriander middle note.
Yeah,
finish.
there's a little zip, but then it just sits down and says, "Oh, I'm here to hang out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to run around."
Well.
So I've seen the whole process here, but I'm kind of stoked to go on the road. It's you, it's the Lush Life crew, it's me. We're harvesting junipers.
It's going to be lots of good times on the island, but most importantly is the berries. And you're going to be able to go down that rabbit hole and see even further how this product starts.
Lush Life is a bartender advocacy agency. My job is to make sure that bartenders have really great experiences where they're able to go and learn about really exciting products and really exciting educational opportunities that exist out there in the spirits industry. We have people here from, I want to say, 23 states, and we're here in Wisconsin learning a little bit about gin and gin production with our friends at Death's Door Spirits. We love to tell stories that aren't just about spirits, but they're also about people. There's always a thread of something a little bit bigger than just the liquid in the bottle. And the story here about agriculture and the story here about the people of Wisconsin was so compelling to us that we just couldn't say no.
Heading to Washington Island, across one of the most treacherous stretches of water in the Great Lakes.
You mean Death's Door?
And look who's here, our buddy Paul Cunningham, from Shriners.
Good morning.
Good morning. You have a little place up here, but you're going to come up and harvest some juniper with us, huh?
I want to get close to the origins of my gin.
As we cross the bay to harvest juniper, which will be made into an exquisite gin, it seems only appropriate that you and I have a drink maybe in the middle of the street on Highway 42 in Ephraim, which has been dry for over 150 years.
Yes.
And has only been, I guess the opposite would be wet, right?
Yes.
For about 2 months now.
2 months now.
Yeah. That's something we should need to commemorate.
Yeah.
Yeah, by all means.
You made it. Congratulations.
Good morning, how are you? Welcome. Hi. Good morning.
Did you always want to be a Greengate
Greengate Farms.
farm?
I didn't know about it till 1975, when my husband, who is 15 years older than I am, brought me here to introduce me to his elderly dad at the time. When I got off that ferry boat and got onto this island, I thought, whoa. I said, this reminds me of Cape Cod. I'm an East Coast person. I used to go to Cape Cod. And I thought, this is a fabulous place.
Yeah, it's a magical place.
And if I actually end up being with this guy, I might have a chance to live here later in my life. And there it is.
So the truth of the romance is that the island got you, but the guy kept you.
Sort of. That works. I like it. Well, this is right here is the juniper fields. That's what you're walking into now.
These little berms of lovely piney goodness. Ooh,
Right.
There's a berry.
So this one is a bearing one. Not every one is. There's male and female plants, and they don't always have berries on them. And when you squish them, they smell just like gin. I mean, this is a beautiful spot. I come out here, pick the junipers, watch the eagles fly over the treetops.
Yeah.
It's nice to know that these berries can be part of Death's Door Spirits gin.
Right.
Even if it's just a token.
And
It's
handpicked.
fun. It's great. Yeah, and handpicked.
Yeah,
it's good.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
We've got our Death's Door Juniper Harvest branded buckets.
Yep.
We have our Ninja gloves. That's actually what they're called.
They're called Ninja Lights, yeah.
Ninja Lights, yeah. And you tell me that the first time you did this, you were sans gloves.
Yeah, we kind of went into it pretty naively. We thought that we could just sort of start picking juniper berries in a bush. And the juniper bush itself is sort of designed to specifically get you to not pick the berry. So
the wisdom of nature.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a very painful first year. And actually our first Juniper Festival, we had 7 people. So
wow.
And that was 9 years ago.
Yeah,
And,
you've grown. How you've grown.
Yeah.
So this is a small bucket, it
Yep.
seems to me. Will this seem like a large bucket after we're picking juniper for a while?
I think it will feel like an enormous bucket within 15 minutes.
I refuse to be daunted by these junipers.
Let's go get them.
Okay, cool.
So picking in general, for us, we're looking for the berries that are the darker berries. I think you guys saw, everybody here has actually had their hands on berries because they actually made botanical sacks at the distillery. So you know what those berries look like. They can be a little bit greener than that, but not super green and certainly not white. Usually what I do is, you lift up a branch and you look underneath and see if there's berries there. But basically what I do is I'll take the bucket and put it underneath it, and then I'll basically go down the spine of the plant and just push them in. So I guess we've officially started. We have 3 juniper berries in this bucket. So.
I'm 6 berries in, and I completely understand the need for gloves.
No, we might have ridden this pony as far as.
Oh no, I believe. You gotta go deeper. Can you smell this is gin in my bucket. Sam, where in New York are you from?
Well, I'm from Green Bay originally, but
right on.
I run a bar called Boilermaker in the East Village.
What's your favorite gin cocktail?
A 50-50 gin martini, dash of orange bitters, lemon twist.
Dude, you didn't even have to inhale for that to have the breath to express what your heart was saying. Not unlike so many other stories that we've told on this show, I will never look at a bottle of gin the same way again. Cunningham! I lost my Paul Cunningham.
Hey, Jerry, we gotta add a line. Cherrick wants his own. He wants to enter solo.
Wisconsin Foodie.
We're going 4.5. 4.5 for Foodie.
Attention pickers! The Wisconsin Foodie has officially entered the competition, and he is now winning. 2 minutes! If you're not in line, 2 minutes! Oh, wait. No. This is a lot of salad here, bro.
22 ounces, Jerry.
22 ounces, huh? That's a big one.
So cumulative with everything that was pulled in today, you got about 4 bottles worth of gin, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, what we do with the berries is we actually we'll take all of these berries specifically, and we'll clean them, and then we'll distill them just by themselves. And basically, it's the original preservation technique for grain and for these botanicals is to get them in distillate.
Cool.
All right, we're gonna add this up. Have yourself a final beverage. I think your cherry train is coming shortly.
So what do you think of your first Juniper Harvest?
I hope it's not my last. I'm pretty much done with it for today. But I can recoup, I can regroup, I can do this again. It was fun and educational.
I'm feeling very English. We did a little bit of gardening in the sun, and now we're having gin cocktails.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wow, this really does hurt. Tom Dufek, your cabin has won the Juniper Harvest.
Woo! Cheese curd kill us!
Team Cheese Curd Kill Us! Yes. You won! Woo! Yeah, right? Tell me about the technique.
Found some unmarked bushes that were pretty flush, and then we all hit it. We all gave it our best shot. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Thanks for bringing it, gents.
Thank you.
You are dismissed but not let go. There will be more merriment to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thank you.
Cool. I left you hanging. That's interesting. Brian, Paul, this was, our first Juniper Harvest. You are the Phelps of juniper harvesting, basically. I mean, you brought back a full bucket, and I said, nice work, and you're like, this is my third time.
Yeah.
This was a half hour.
I think I've got my technique down for sure after 9 years of doing this.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I've suffered for gin, that's for sure.
Well, you guys are going to carry on. This was fantastic. I mean, I understand why you're in love with this island now. So much deeper. I've been before, but this just nailed it.
It's a gem.
Yeah, truly, truly. We are going to go to Ephraim and do a little gin shot in the formerly dry town. 150 years, I think, for the two of us should be christened with some Death Doors gin.
I think that's the way to do it, guys.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. You carry on.
Yeah.
Good luck with this crew.
It was a pleasure.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
I want to do this again.
That's right. Well, we'll keep picking as long as people keep drinking.
I'll be here next summer.
All right, great.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
See ya. All right, my friend.
Things you do.
The cap is off. The gin is being poured. And I'd like to have a toast, not to you, not to me, not to Death's Door, but to Ephraim and 163 years as a dry community.
Yes.
And as of a month or two ago, no longer. Oh, that's good. That's
I'm
good.
happy.
Yeah. Though a little tonic
great
wouldn't be a
day.
bad thing. Cheers, buddy.
Wisconsin Foodie would like to thank the following underwriters for their support: Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board and the Dairy Farm Families of Wisconsin.
Packaging your vision for craft beer and spirits.
American Kitchen Cookware is helping food lovers everywhere embrace their own culinary adventure. Outpost Natural Foods, a proud supporter of local, organic, and Wisconsin foodie. Society Insurance, small details, big difference. Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. Lamers Bus Lines, providing Wisconsin with deluxe motor coach service, school busing, and more. Also, with support of the Friends of Wisconsin Public Television.
Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board, representing the dairy farm families of Wisconsin, who fostered a proud history with generations of family-owned dairy farms, working to sustain the state's economy through job growth and providing acclaimed cheeses and other dairy products.
Every product tells a story, and every story starts with a seed. Your story, your product, your company all started with an idea. Ircink Company ensures you have the right packaging to help you proudly take your harvest to market. Ircink Company is dedicated to packaging your vision.
American Kitchen Cookware is proud to support Wisconsin Foodie in helping food lovers everywhere embrace their own culinary adventure. With cookware manufactured right here in Wisconsin, we're working every day to make people's lives better in and out of the kitchen.